Hello, check. Um, I was having a lot of trouble with my technology, and I'm gonna wait a minute and see if people find the new stream, and then I'll get started. I'll just go through my regular stuff. We'll see what happens. This is nuts, you guys. I've been shadow banned a lot. I think that it got cranked up a notch or two today because of what I was talking about earlier. I guess I shan't talk about it no more. Right. As if. Please hit that like button if you'd be so kind. And make sure that you're still subscribed if you are subscribed. And if you're not, please consider doing it. It's no commitment. It's free. It helps a channel out a lot. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like it. Turn on your notification bell to ring. So, oh, BoobTube, hello. OMG, am I so happy to see you, my dear. So, yeah, I was having a live. I had some good friends in there, and then I lost sound, and it just went all cattywampus, and my head was spinning. How are you doing? How are you doing? So, yeah, I've like kind of hit a gold mine or a coal mine of crapola with true crime and politics, and I was talking about it, and then I lost sound, and then everything went to hell in a handbasket. So I tried to come on again on a new stream, and now it's finally working. So here I am. I was going to give it a couple of minutes to see if folks can come on. Hello. Hey, I'm on live. I had a whole bunch of trouble, and so I just got back on. So, okay, love you. Bye. Everything is interconnected. I no longer doubt that. Yeah, so I was talking about Epstein. I was talking about Wexner. Hello, little E, unplug you, LOL. Oh man, I don't know, but I'm not going to let these clowns intimidate me. All it does is make me think, so this is what you really don't want people talking about. It's okay to talk about everything else, just don't talk about this. So before I get into the meat of things, I do want to give people a few minutes to find the new thing. And I just want to thank you guys for being here. It is maddening. We lost 20 to 25 minutes, no sound. I know, and I apologize that I hadn't been reading the chat, so I didn't know. That's another reason to keep up with your chat at all times, so you know right away. And then I couldn't get a connection at all to do another live. Like I tried and I tried and I tried. I even tried my cell phone, and then that started to work, but I deleted that, and then I tried this again. So now it's working, allegedly. Epstein's black book references the Tahoe garage connected to the WB and mobsters. Well, all of this stuff in West Palm Beach, it's all freaking the last word of that comment, BoobTube. That's what it all is. That's really what it all is. And, now we've got a boss of that type as our leader, a presidente. All right. So, one of the most important things I think right now is to pay attention to all of these little aircrafts that are falling out of the sky. And that one that fell out of the sky really close to Mar-a-Lago, actually. And It was right near the Boca Raton airport. The craft had just taken off from the Boca Raton airport, and it crashed on train tracks, actually. That was the grandfather, Bob Stark, Robert Stark, 81 years old, the dad, Stephen Stark, 54 years old, and then the daughter or granddaughter, Brooke Stark, 17 years old. So Brooke Stark is a very, very beautiful young girl. I don't know if she was a junior in high school, I'm thinking. I think they were uh, taking a flight to Tallahassee so that she could check out the school. And it seemed like it was probably the end of her junior year, but she is a little bit of a internet star, it seems, and she's the same age as little T's granddaughter, his oldest granddaughter. I won't mention any names, but she goes to high school. Little T's granddaughter goes to high school just north of Delray, which is where Brooke and her dad Stephen lived. So the granddad, Robert, I talked about this in my last video. He built this company for the last 40 years, an IT company, called something like US. What's it called? I have it, I think, in the title of my live from Saturday. Let's see if I can find that. It's just craziness, isn't it? Absolute insanity. Like, what happened with Vance and his visit with the Pope? Who knows? So the legacy IT firm called US Infocom Inc. Um, they lost the proprietor of the company. That would be the granddad, 81-year-old Robert Stark. And then they also lost the president of the company, and that's the 54-year-old dad, Stephen Stark. And then the granddaughter was also lost. So this, it seems from my internet searching, and it took a lot of effort to find it, but it seems that this is a very successful company that specializes in satellite and cable communication systems and business stuff. Let's just say hashtag business stuff. So they're affiliated with like Cisco and Hewlett Packard and Microsoft and a small smattering of others. A very specialized and successful company that was located in Boca Raton, I believe. I also believe that where their airplane crashed was literally just down the road from the headquarters. I think that the company is in all 50 states. I think it's even international, but it's a relatively small company, it seems. And so they're the president and the proprietor, the inventor of the company, are now no longer with us, thus potentially jeopardizing the future success of the company. That could be the same status for the Siemens company that is based out of Belgium, Germany, that the mother and the father in that helicopter crash over the Hudson River last week. The dad was the CEO of Siemens Industries, and the mother was in charge of global communications networking or something like that. And their three little children passed away with them, as did the pilot of that helicopter. And that helicopter just fell apart right out of the sky. I mean, that was nuts. I don't believe that that could have happened by accident. I believe that that was a sabotage of sorts. And then this airplane crashing so close to the company, the coincidences are just too freaking profound. There's too many of them stacked up on top of each other. And then that's not even counting that plane that went down in the Catskills Mountains right by the border of Connecticut and Massachusetts, with the magnificent 6 people on the plane, the mom and the dad and the son and the daughter, and then the son and the daughter's girlfriend and boyfriend. Those 6 people who were highly successful in their fields. So all 3 of these accidents that I've just mentioned have all had virtually geniuses in these fields that compete directly with Musk's businesses, in my opinion. So let me just say real quick, my disclaimer, everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation and open up a discussion and learn something and be educational. And all my videos are made for YouTube, and it's an entertainment platform. And I so much appreciate you guys sticking with me through all of the mayhem that the shadow banning gives me. And I started to think that they just banned me, that they just like turned me off, and that I was not going to be able to get turned back on. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm not going to stop talking about this stuff, because all they're doing is confirming to me that I am absolutely on the right path, and then connecting all of these things to other billionaires in that small world of billionaires. And I was in my video that went down just in the last hour, I was talking about Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein. So I've been doing a deep dive over the weekend on both of those characters, or moguls, or villains, whatever you want to call them. And we've got to remember the close affiliation of not just Donnie, but also the big E with the other little E. I like to call the one with the island the little E, because he thought he was like Mr. Big, and he's just such a disgusting monster. And it seems that, I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that he offed himself in that prison, with the coincidences, the coinky dinks of all of the guards fell asleep. Like, come on. And then none of the cameras were working. Again, come on. And then even the way his neck was injured was not consistent with a hanging. It was consistent with a strangulation, like manually. So the hiatal bone was crushed, like broken in 3 different places, that would not happen with a hanging. So there still are a lot of people, high profile, connected to him, even though he's deceased. And they think just by taking him out that they're going to like solve their problems. What a sick freaking world, man. And on these poor victims, the survivors of these assaults, and trying to get justice, and then thinking that they're going to get justice, and then having that just evaporate in their faces. Let me see if I can take the glare off of that a little bit. Yeah, let me see what you guys are saying. I'm still at the dentist, just waiting for him to say I'm good so I can go home. Yeah, it's always good to get your teeth cleaned and get checked. OMG, Anna, you just said the D word. LOL, terrifying. I'm sure it's all related. Makes you wonder if an EMP pew is at play in some of these crashes. Wow. I don't even think of like an EMP pew. I've talked a lot lately, BoobTube, about scramblers. I mean, that might be what that is. Let me see what those letters stand for. I mean, I can guess exactly what you're talking about. There's much evidence to suggest little E was a double agent. Well, and then I was talking about this guy who was a deputy for the sheriff's department there in Florida. Let's see what his Palm Beach County Deputy John Mark Dugan. He worked for 5 years for the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department, and then he fled to Russia in 2016, and he's been there ever since, so 9 years. And he runs about 150 internet fake news things and interfered with the election, the 2024 election, probably other elections as well. And yeah, I mean, all these people seem to be in bed with PP. And I was going to look up your letters, the EMP pew pew. I'm thinking kind of like the DEW. EMP, electromagnetic pulse. Exactly, boob tube. That's exactly what I think is the type of thing going on here. Thank you for giving it a name for me, because I didn't know what to call it other than like scrambler and things like that. Oh man. So yeah, that chopper above the Hudson a couple weeks ago, that thing fell apart. So it could be that there was an EMP pew pew that melted parts that made that happen. It could be that there was mechanical sabotage done that would make it fall apart after the 15 minutes that it was in flight. And then the airplane that crashed in the Catskills Mountains was getting close to landing. They were about 10 miles actually. So just like maybe 1 minute from landing. He's the one who missed his opportunity to land, but maybe he missed his opportunity to land because of scrambling. I don't know. Anyway, the fact that that small plane landed so close to the borders of Connecticut and Massachusetts and a handful of state parks made me very curious about criminals that look for no man's lands for jurisdiction or lack thereof. BoobTube says, I was looking into the FBI vault for Cal Nevada mobster Sam Giancana. You just made me think of Nick Giovanni. Isn't that the guy's name from the Kylie Rodney case? The roadside assistance guy? I think it was Nick Giovanni. I never was like, Italian, right. Anyway, he was an asset too, and many police agencies were doing some dirty stuff too, according to those docs. Yeah. These people are insane. And, you know, these people that do the trafficking with the teenagers, you got to be real, man. Wouldn't they love to get their hands on somebody like Kylie? Wouldn't they love to get their hands on somebody like Maddie Mogan or Xander Kernodle? I mean, why is it that in these cases with these extraordinarily good-looking victims that they don't talk about that? They don't talk about how off the rails hot these people are. Because if they would just mention it and then move on, it wouldn't be so suspicious to me. But the fact that they don't mention it and then they're just like, oh yeah, there was no essay for any of them. Oh, phew. Yeah, well, we're glad, because we don't like essay. That's disgusting. But really? So none of these crimes against these extraordinarily hot young folks, none of them were motivated by that type of deviancy? Doubtful. Seriously doubtful. You got to call a spade a spade. Anna Bees. Girlfriend, this is all related. Everything. We are not all stupid. Right. But we got to pretend that we're stupid, and we got to just not talk about it. You know, and I wanted to say that one of the things that drives me nuts with the political channels that I watch, because, you know, I've been watching a lot of political stuff since the election, because I think that it's all true crime, basically. But one of the things that really bothers me about it is it almost seems like some of the folks doing the content are like entertained by all the buffoonery and, just the ability to laugh at it. And I do think we need to laugh at it. And I do think it's good to keep a comedic light heart over some of these obscenely brutal, disgusting realities. But we're not just here to yabber about it. We're not just here to go, oh, look at those freaks and fools, and they think they're so smart, and yeah, they can't get away with it. We see them. But we're not just here to say we see them. We're here to say we see them, so somebody needs to do something. Talking about it is doing something, but authorities, people in positions of power need to do something. All of us as a people can do something by contacting our senators, our representatives, protesting peacefully, showing up in these chats, making our videos, talking to our friends, expressing ourselves, speaking our truth. And I feel like there's too much entertainment value in all of the political, like, let's make fun of these idiots doing these stupid things. So like over the weekend, just now in the last like 24 hours, Kristi Noem had her purse stolen allegedly from a Washington, D.C. restaurant with $3,000 cash in it and her passport and blank checks. Come on. Who carries around a passport, blank checks, and $3,000 cash? I guess that was for the next Botox injection. Again, there I go making light of it. But like, WTF, how does your purse get stolen from inside a restaurant without witnesses or surveillance footage of the thief? WTF, man. Is that to distract from Vance visiting the Pope and then the Pope taking his last breath? Is Vance visiting the Pope and then the Pope taking his last breath? Is that something contrived to distract from all the seg death mayhem? All of the people in this administration belong in prison. Every single one of them, in my humble opinion. The jig is up. Yes. Yes. It just is sickening. It's absolutely sickening. And then just because like little E got arrested and then unalived in prison 6 years ago, that doesn't change anything. All that does actually is add to the crimes. I mean, the crimes of negligence, if nothing else, by the people operating the jail, the crimes of whoever orchestrated the hit, because we all know that was a hit. Give me a break. A lot of people involved in all of the crimes that Jeffrey committed for all those years. And then for these people to say, oh, well, I just don't affiliate with him anymore. I quit liking him a long time ago, and so I distanced myself. Well, good that you distanced yourself, but you're still accountable for the things that happened before you distanced yourself. It's really gross. I feel like all of them only tell half the story too. If that, the jig is up. There's still power in the pen guys for a little while anyway. Right. And the power in the YouTube, bioweapons, the Pope. Yeah. Francis always creeped me out. I don't like it when old men sneer like that and kiss everyone's babies. Yep, I hear ya, BoobTube. Fred Fields says, who is this Christine you have mentioned a few times? Too many crooks for me to keep track of. Well, Caroline Levitt, Caroline with a K, is that who you mean? Or Christy Nome. Christy Nome. Sorry, Fred. Christy Nome is the brunette that likes to dress up in the like army fatigues and carry an Uzi and get pictures of herself um, with the hostages that are being held in the El Salvadorian prison. That's Christy Nome. So she was a representative from South Dakota or North Dakota. I think North Dakota. And she's a real piece of crap, in my humble opinion. She wrote a book a few years ago where she bragged about shooting her puppy, deceased, getting her dog into a gravel pit and then uh, putting some slugs into the dog. And then she did the same thing to a goat. And then she bragged about it in her book. So she's a very hateful individual. She's a sycophant. She's one of Little T's most loyal sycophants. She's the one who was babysitting him on the stage when he decided not to talk at his rally, and he just did the 45 minutes of songs like YMCA and Maria, what is that one? Maria Alvadalto or something like that. His favorite song. What is Trump's favorite song? Oh my goodness. Um, Other than the YMCA. It doesn't, it's like all these other stupid songs. Pavarotti. Okay. Anyway, you guys remember when he did that ridiculous stunt where he was up on the stage and he was like, we don't need questions. Let's just listen to songs. And well, it started with Christy Nome saying, should we play your song now? And he's like, huh? He was all confused. And she's like, sir, your favorite song, the one you love to play at the end. Um, Ave Maria. There we go. Ave Maria. That was driving me nuts. Frank Sinatra, Wheels on the Bus would be about right. That's a good one, Fred. It's normal in Italian and Latino culture to kiss people. Yeah, that's true. I kiss my family. Yeah, but in this day and age, and especially with like the Catholic Church and all the multi millions of dollars that they've had to pay out in abuse cases, you would think that they would maybe shore that up, right? So yeah, so that town hall was in Pennsylvania. It was October 15th of 2024. And he said, let's not do any more questions. Let's just listen to music. And then he proceeded to do that for 45 minutes. But it was Christy Nome was the one who was, she's this beautiful woman on the stage with him, as if she was like his nursemaid, like he was some old man from a nursing facility that was just so confused. I mean, it was the most bizarre thing. And he is an old man and he is confused. He doesn't live in a nursing facility, but he probably would be a good candidate for that. And that's nothing against age or nursing facilities. My own mother lived in a nursing facility for the last 10 years of her life. And once she moved in at 69 after her kidney failure, and she was bedridden for a month, so she had to learn how to walk and feed herself and everything, relearn everything. um, it didn't make her any less of a person, and once she rehabbed from that initial hospitalization, she was fairly independent, even living in the nursing facility. She was able to garden, she was able to ride her she had a trike, a recumbent trike that she would ride. And this is when she was doing dialysis 3 days a week. If you saw her on her dialysis days, she was a train wreck, and you knew why she lived in a nursing home. But if you saw her on her non-dialysis days, you'd just be like, why does this person live in a nursing home? She seems fine. So, you know, Mr. T has a lot of health issues, obviously, and a lot of cognitive issues, obviously. And then he writes these ridiculous letters from doctors that just say the most ludicrous things that doctors would never say in a medical assessment clean bill of health. They don't talk about how you win your golf games. They don't talk about how you're like the finest specimen of any president ever in the whole wide world, the bigliest. They just don't talk like that. They talk about things like your heart rate and your ALC, or your cholesterol levels, and it's just bizarre, the things that he has written in these weird letters. And then, like, what's really bizarre is what happened to the first doctor from the 2015 letter, Harold Borenstein. What happened to Harold Borenstein 2 days after the insurrection? And we don't know what happened to him. He passed away 2 days after the insurrection, and we don't know what he passed away from, and we don't know where it happened. And that's bizarre. So, this is what happens to you if you don't follow along. And he did follow along, but not good enough, right? It's pretty unreal. Let's keep up with you guys. And let me drink a little tea here. I'm teetotaling. I'll show my thumb and ask you to please hit your like button if you don't mind. And it looks like almost everybody here has hit the like button. That's awesome. And I did this thing already in my last video, but not in this one. Please make sure you're still subscribed and turn on your notification bell to ring, and share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like this channel. And I already did my disclaimer, so we're good to go. Oh man. So when my sound got dropped when I was doing my first live an hour or so ago, I was shredding through a lot of detailed information that I think the powers that be don't want anybody to be shredding through. So over the weekend, I watched some very deep dive type of documentaries about Ohio, about the richest man in Ohio, who is Les Wexner. He basically created Epstein. He basically brought him up. So Les Wexner is still alive. He's 87 years old. He also was tight with Michael Jeffries, who was arrested a few months ago for all of the trafficking of Abercrombie and Fitch models. So a lot of this goes into like the Victoria's Secret modeling. A lot of this goes into the trafficking of men as well as women, and people that are of age as well as people who are not of age. And a lot of this goes into, I don't know, like Russian beauty pageants that somebody was the owner of, that would go around inspecting all of the girls in their rooms when they were maybe not even dressed, and he would just walk in because he owned the place. And you got to remember, these were Russian beauty pageants, and the types of things that we have these sick freaks doing, and the desire, these really sick carnal desires that these men have. It's mostly men. Some of these predators are female, like Ghislaine Maxwell, and thank goodness she's in prison, but she could get pardoned. El Presidente wished her well. We got pictures of him hanging out with her. I mean, they hung out with Weinstein. They hung out with Sean Combs. All these people hung out together. It's nauseating. And then going to that freaking island, I was talking about Little E's Island and how it was such a gorgeous paradise and how frightening it must have been for anybody trapped there getting assaulted and not having any way to escape. How many of these survivors, how many of the people that survived the abuse are not still with us because they self-harmed or they were silenced forever? I mean, you've got these people out on an island. Who's going to know the difference if people don't know that they're out there? Or even if they do know that they're out there and they just lose touch, or you can just say, oh, well, I don't know what happened to them. The last time I saw them, they were happy and doing whatever they felt like doing. And, I left them at the beach and I have no idea what happened after that. Like the story of Joran Vandersloot, or the story that he gave about his last interactions with Natalie Holloway. It's just awful. Absolutely awful. They haven't examined every president, so they wouldn't say he is the best. Yeah, well, you don't need to, because you already know he's the best, because he's just the bigliest, bestiest of any human specimen, president or not, right? Same with Taylor Casey, C3PO, and the woman, the 20-year-old student from, I think she was at the University of Pittsburgh. She was in Pittsburgh at one of the universities there. I'm pretty sure it was the University of Pittsburgh. And then she disappeared from the Dominican Republic. And it looked like Evil Exists had a new video about that. Maybe we should watch it together real quick. And JE's parking garage, Kinney Systems, was also named the Tahoe garage, which was purchased by WB, who is connected to not only Sarah Kellen's address, Ghislaine's helper, but Weinstein and WB Records boob tube. It sounds like you've been doing some deep diving. Wow. That's wild. Here, I'm going to go to Evil Exists and play their last video, because I saw that they had just dropped one while I was trying to come on. And it's called Intimidated into Silence, Sudiska Konanki. And they're talking about her parents. Were her parents intimidated into silence? And I've wondered about that. So this is 8 hours ago. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you guys. WB is also tied to the Cult and Allison Mack. Former WB executive was picked up by Frontier Records, and they managed Starship and Blue Oyster Cult. They were in Reno on the 4th and 5th. Interesting. Oh, the 4th and 5th of August of 2022, BoobTube. Holy crap. Here, let me play this real quick. I was really curious what this had to say, because I've wondered about this specifically.
See so many emails all questioning why Sadiksha Kanenki's parents are not pushing for answers, considering the circumstances surrounding her disappearance. The last known person with their daughter, Joshua Ryab, gave many versions of what happened that was explained away by saying that it was due to a translation issue. Sadiksha's parents were convinced at the beginning that foul play was involved. They asked authorities to please investigate the possibility of a kidnapping too. However, just days after she vanished, they decided to make a dramatic turnaround, asking Dominican authorities to start the process to legally declare her dead. It is one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard of. She hasn't even been found yet. There is no solid proof that Sadiksha Kanenki drowned. Even Joshua Ryab said the last he saw, she was walking in knee-deep water, so why make the leap that she drowned, and try to put this case to bed? Makes no sense. Anyway, in this video, I want to talk about the public appeal to these parents to take action. There are a number of TikTokers, YouTubers, and other social media users who are trying to reach out to these parents, offer support and assistance, but so far, no response. A few people have spoken to TJ Ward, who offered the parents assistance to go out to the Dominican Republic and search for her, speak to the people at the bar, and try and uncover the truth. The parents did not respond to any of his messages. Sadly, it seems like the ball is in their court, even though many are pushing for TJ Ward to go ahead and search either way. I think he will have to wait for the go-ahead from them. Some are even questioning whether they have been threatened or intimidated into silence. Dominican Republic authorities have still made no decision on declaring Sadiksha legally dead. It is difficult for them to do so without a body. The big question is, will the Kanenki family accept the assistance they are being offered?
Interesting. Very interesting. I think a lot of us have wondered that about Kylie Rodney's parents and grandfather maybe being intimidated or paid to be silent. And there's certainly a lot of suspicion in my mind, and I know the mind of many of you, about the families of the Idaho Four, like specifically Ethan Chapin's family. So you've got, he was a triplet, and he has a brother and a sister that they were all born together. They were all in their mother's womb together. And both the brother and the sister were given money by the fraternity that he was a part of, Sigma Chi. And the mom has just said so many curious things that make you wonder if the family's been paid off even more than the money that's documented that they've given to the brother and the sister. So Hunter, his triplet brother, was given some type of scholarship from Sigma Chi, and then the sister was given some, like, forget what they call it, like the fraternity sweetheart award or something. It was something really weird. It's a legit thing that they have, but it was just weird that they gave it to her at the same time that they were giving his brother basically a cash prize, so to speak. So they gave both of them several $1,000s. That was on the record, and it's always seemed that perhaps family members have been given other money, in that case in particular, to keep quiet and not ask questions. The thing I just keep going back to lately with Idaho 4 is, how come there's no evidence of any of the remains of the victims leaving the residence, and how come that's not talked about? How come the lawyers aren't talking about that? How come the mainstream media is not talking about that? Even YouTube channels, a couple have mentioned it over the 2.5 years since the crimes, but it's not mentioned enough. And part of it, I think, is that the zone is flooded and we get so overwhelmed, and then we get distracted by all these other characters involved, like Emma and Demetrius, or Xander Kernodle's mother and Maddie Mogan's father and stepmother. All three of them had been arrested for rugs right around the same time as the quadruple slaying. It just makes your head spin, doesn't it? And then just all the details with the witnesses who didn't witness anything that they want to call survivors when we really don't even know if they should be called survivors or suspects, in my opinion. I mean, at the very least, let's just call them persons of interest. I think that's reasonable. I think that's very reasonable. But just recently, we had the Virginia Gouffre, and it was funny that I think it was both me and Anna Bees who thought her last name started with a D, that it was like Dupre or something like that. And yeah, the way when it's said, the way they say Gouffre, it's the G almost sounds like a D. It's weird. Um, so a couple 3 weeks ago, she did that weird thing where she put the photographs of herself, or a photograph of herself all bruised up in the hospital, saying she had 4 days to live. And just a quick update on that, we know that she was discharged from the hospital, and that was a cry for help, and I think trying to manipulate her kids into contacting her. I don't know the ages of her kids. I think she said she has 3 teenagers that don't talk to her. She's going through a divorce. Her husband of 22 years is who helped her, I think, escape the situation. I know that he helped her a great deal through all of it. And I mean, divorce is stressful for anybody, but somebody who's not only gone through that type of abuse, but then had such a high profile in litigating it, and then not being able to litigate it, and then, I'm sure many threats against her life. Even if there weren't direct threats against her life, it would be implied, right? But of all of Epstein's victims, she's the only one who has a picture of herself with actual royalty. So that puts a target on her back. And it's sad that there's so many victims that have come out to speak publicly, and that any get more attention than any of the rest of them. Like, probably some of them don't want any additional attention, but probably some of them are like, why is she famous and nobody knows who I am when I went through the same type of hell? I mean, it's just absolutely twisted. But one of the things that I didn't realize, that little E did this a couple of days before he passed away. I just found this out in one of the documentaries I was watching, is that he revised his will 2 days before he passed away. And it made it extraordinarily difficult for any of the victims to get compensated. So he has a brother who I think is still currently pushing that envelope, trying to prove that he didn't do this to himself. I don't know. It's all very convoluted. And I mean, it's a really, really sick, dark world that those people live in. So to think that the current El Presidente was friends with him and hung out with him, and that he was friends with Ghislaine and hung out with her. And there's plenty of pictures of him and his current wife hanging out with the two of them. It's just creepy AF. It's creepy AF. I mean, all of these people to me are just like a bunch of goons. And then just the whole thing with like West Palm Beach and just your Miami, like your absolute, like almost ridiculously cartoonish, cliche Miami mobster types. I mean, it's creepy AF, man. It just doesn't get any creepier. And this domination for world power that these weirdos are going through right now. Let's talk about the Death Star of Segdeath, because I think his Death Star is falling dramatically as we speak. It wouldn't surprise me if he quits or gets fired by the end of the day. certainly by the end of the week. But it's not just him. It's not just the people that have quit or gotten fired before him. It's every single person in this current administration. Every single one of them eventually will be in prison, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. I don't think that that's a pipe dream. I don't think that that is unrealistic. I think it's just a matter of time. And sometimes the wheels of justice are slow. Even when they're fast, they're slow. For something to happen instantaneously, like death segs firing from what happened with that signal chat, it would make sense to me if he is no longer part of the administration in the upcoming days or weeks, and even that time frame would make sense to me. That things like that don't happen overnight, and when they do, that doesn't fix anything. You know, I mean, you're just like trimming the top of the weed, so to speak, to use Musk's little metaphor. You know, it's like you have the apple with the worm in it, but this time we just have a handful of worms, but he can't say the word accurately. Worms. You got an apple with a worm, but you just have a handful of worms. It's just like, dude, it's a disgusting image, but really apropos for the likes of you, because he's pretty much of a lowly worm, although, you know, no offense to lowly worms, right? I think of the lowly worm from Richard Scarry's books. Anyway, these people are just the scum of the scum, and it's a snake pit, it's dog eat dog, it's a Shark Tank. You know, they're all just vying for money and power, and to take advantage of anybody that they can in the entire country, the entire world. They don't care about anybody but number one. It's obvious. It's obvious. Oh man, there's just so many whack jobs in our current administration. I can't even begin. Like who would be married to head Seth Death Star? Seth Death. Who would be married to him? That woman, wasn't she pregnant with his baby when he was still married to a second wife, but then he married her after he finally got his divorce? Or like the woman that's married to RFK Jr. I mean, these people, this administration, as much as they're like fascists, they're also misogynistic. And that's what's so scary. You know, we can't quit talking about the whole Handmaid's Tale thing, as we are here at probably day 90 of this administration, with their 100-day plan of the implementation of the Project 2025. Oh, let's just pray. Billy, darling, found me again. Yay. Let's see. What did I miss here? Am I able to almost seems as if different narratives and so many shady characters are introduced on purpose to distract. Absolutely. And Billy, darling, I saw you after my last live failed. I saw that you came in there, and I was making some comments after the fact. I don't know if they showed to everybody. But hey, folks, how are you? How the heck are you? Oh, I do hope you're feeling better very soon, sir. BoobTube is, I think they are a they. I don't think they want to be defined. Not so much for androgyny, but just for anonymity, right? Yeah, appreciate that, Billy. Thank you. And how he met her. You're speaking of the Trumpster fire and his missus, maybe, Annabise? Didn't Vance make a public, credible threat towards the Pope earlier this year? What? C3PO? I don't know, but of course, this is like all the talk, all the talk. Um, yeah. Who the heck knows? What was he doing going to visit him anyway? Like, that's odd. Doesn't he have a lot on his plate? Like, trying to rob Greenland out from under their nose and stuff? Goodness. Ah, all right. Let me go through my notes because I got a lot written down. Okay, so 3 years ago, 3 years and 2 months ago. Have you guys heard of Jean-Luc Brunel? He was a French modeling agent who was arrested and then found deceased in his jail cell, just like the little E, who worked for him. No, wait, Jean-Luc Brunel worked for the little E. So he procured young, hot women from France. And then little E procured young women, saying that he was recruiting for Victoria's Secret catalogs, you guys. This is disgusting. And he did have a lot of affiliation with the owner of Victoria's Secret. And of course, that billionaire distanced himself from that. But he was first made aware that little E was doing that in like 1993, I think. And I don't think he made the distinctive severing of the ties until 2007 or so, when little E was arrested. But this Jean-Luc Brunel passed away the exact same way little E did. And then this John Mark Dugan, the deputy for the Palm Beach County Sheriff for 5 years, who fled to Russia in 2016 and is currently operating a whole bunch of fake news, artificial intelligence crap from Russia. So he is being protected by Putin. And yeah, these are important people to keep an eye on. I think this well, Jean-Luc is deceased, but still, I think learning more about him will help with the current situation, I think, because with him deceased and little E deceased, the problems still exist. The only thing is that those two aren't alive, but all the problems remain and are potentially even bigger and worse problems. So then the Palm County Sheriff's Department, the deputy John Mark Dugan, and the crap he did. And the crap that he did, that, are you guys keeping up with John Pelletier, the evil, disgusting police chief in Maui that was named in the Diddy lawsuit? Because, man, Tracy from Brush Junkie dropped a video about updating on his status just over the weekend, and it's just looking really bad. Like, it looks like he protected monsters, basically, and he is a monster, basically. So, you know, when you have these types of people in law enforcement, these people get away with red rum. It's absolutely gross. All right. Where did I leave off here? The gulags. Um, so, what do you guys know about the Duke lacrosse case? $20 million per frat boy. You remember Jeffrey Sessions in the first Little T administration? He was part of this deal. So I think the Duke lacrosse case was that a woman said that she was assaulted at a frat party and that it got turned around. I don't know what the truth is, but that it got turned around that she made a false accusation about this disgusting allegation, and that each of the frat boys that she accused of assaulting her all simultaneously, that they each got paid out $20 million from Duke University. Absolutely gross. And that Jeffrey Sessions had a lot to do with that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So yeah, the radio waves, the electronic devices that could potentially remotely intercept the instruments on these flight helicopters or airplanes and scramble the instruments for the pilots. Basically cyber attacks. And again, you got the satellites and the cables going back to that company that is owned by the family that crashed in Boca Raton. Damn, how do we keep up with this stuff? So that family of three, Brooke, Robert, and Stephen, they were Jewish. And then the family of four in the plane crash up in upstate New York with the 6 people that died in that plane crash, that was a Jewish family too. So my brain is just melting. I apologize, you guys. So the Stark family, that's Brooke, Stephen, and Robert Stark. I couldn't think of their last name. So that's a Jewish family too, apparently. German Jewish. But it was weird how hard it was to find the name of the business. And Robert, the 54-year-old grandfather, was 81. That's Robert. Stephen Stark was the 54-year-old, the dad. But here it says that Robert held his private pilot certificate since 2018. And Brooke went to Atlantic High School. Ugh. And then the Aldo Stark, who owns the company that built that giant mansion. So the company that built that giant mansion is called Prestige Designs. And I don't think that there's any relation with that, the Aldo Like I said, my brain is just scrambled. The artificial intelligence doesn't help because it draws connections where there aren't connections, and then that's misinformation. That's why it's so important to know, not only to know what you're looking for, but also to know to take everything with a grain of salt. So I'm glad that I did. When I found artificial intelligence telling me that Aldo Stark was related to the Stark family that passed away in that plane crash, I was very glad that I was like, I don't know, that's only one place and that's only AI that's telling me that. And I researched and researched and researched over the weekend, and I found nothing connecting the two. And in fact, the photographs that I found of what Aldo Stark looked like, he's a brown skinned person, and the other Starks are all light skinned. So it's possible that they're related, but I don't think that they are. I think that it's not a very common last name, and it's not a very big city, Boca Raton or Del Rey. But, he was involved with the building of that giant $55 million mansion that is larger, not only way more expensive than, but also larger than Mar-a-Lago. So I would think, we know how much Trumpster Fire is so competitive about being the strongest and the bigliest and all that. I would think that he hates that mansion is a few thousand square feet more than his mansion, and sold for a lot more than his mansion ever sold for. So Anna B says I was driving, so I couldn't comment. Where are we? Let's see. Oh, has the Pope been very anti El Presidente? I caught a little bit of that, but I didn't know that it was very. I just knew that there was like a little bit of that. I'm home now. Yes, Fred, that's what I'm saying. Hey, Billy, darling, I was driving, so I couldn't comment. Granny Annie, hi from Vegas. Yay, I wonder who had access to that. Well, and Granny Annie, you're reminding me of the Tesla Cybertruck blowing up in front of the Vegas Trumpster Fire Tower on New Year's Day. And how come that's been forgotten all about? Like, what's going on with that investigation? Give me an effing break, man. This stuff is nuts. Absolutely nuts. Not to mention the the Ford F-150 that was rented through the same app on the same day with the other Army vet who crashed into so many people, and another disaster. New Orleans is where that one was on New Year's Day. Like, why aren't those cases, those investigations being spoken of anymore? Just like on to the next freaking disaster. Now the Pope's dropped deceased. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. He had trouble breathing and he was 88 years old. I mean, that's just a matter of time. But it is odd that, JD shows up and then he's gone, basically. I keep up from you, Granny Annie says, just dropped in. Which Pope passed away? The one that supported World Econ Forum. Billy Darling says, like the poisonous handshake from the film The Interview. I haven't seen that. OMG. Well, yeah. I mean, Vance is just a really gross person. I mean, he's spineless and he's disgusting. I mean, he's probably, I don't know if he's like, I mean, he's just a puppet. He makes himself a puppet. But that Tate guy, like, he's probably like the boy toy for that Tate guy that paid for his degree at Yale, his law degree. Is it Tate? No, what's the guy's name? The guy who paid for Vance's law degree. I might be getting my wires crossed with Andrew Tate. Um, J.D. Vance Law School. Peter Thiel, right? See, I didn't even have to type it all in. Peter Thiel, yeah. Not Tate, but Peter Thiel. But yeah, then the Tates are just like freaking Jeffrey Little E, those guys. And then Trumpster Fire goes and supports them and protects them. Gag me. The, I mean, the misogyny. Ugh. How do any of the people in these families live with these people? Money does strange things to people's brains, and fame too. Fame and fortune really warps people's sense of reality. Plus, if they go rogue like Ivana, look what happened to Ivana. See? Um yeah, yes, right here. What was that? MK Ultra in my opinion, deep state mind control. The thing with the guy, I can't help but wonder. I think that something like that, Granny Annie, don't you? I mean, they're both deceased, so they can't tell their story. And it was like they were a coordinated effort with both having trucks rented from the same app and both on the same day and both with the military background. They both had served at that Fort Bragg in North Carolina, right? Or did some of their training there. Hours after Smokey Eye shook his hand, which is a no-no, I'm sure, for obvious reasons like illness, FFS. Billy, darling, that's a really good comment. Yeah, you don't shake hands like during COVID and when you have an 88-year-old who has trouble breathing. I haven't watched that movie, but yes, that's what I meant. It's literally in the plot of the movie, Eerie. Yeah, I've got to watch that. It's a comedy with Seth Rogen and Franco. Oh, well, then that should be fun to watch. Um, Rusky Tech 2, the poison film on the hand, like in spy movies. Well, poison is a really big thing with Russia. Poison is something that people act like you're a conspiracy theorist if you talk about poison, but that's how they roll. That's what they do. Heads up, I have arthroscopic knee surgery tomorrow, so I probably won't see you live. Well, let's all pray for Anna B's and the knee surgery. Wow, I hope that goes well. Is that like a oh meniscus? Is that like a meniscus issue? I truly believe that Billy, and I'm mad about it. Anna, good luck. Hope it heals well. Yeah, for sure. Anna, blessings to you and hope for a fast recovery. Depressed. I have work Tuesday through Saturday after 2 days off. I figured you meant off. Where are the rich widow ladies when I need one? LOL. Oh, well, so at least you have the rest of today off. And JD forced the handshake. Oh, that's gross. That's like little T with his forcing the handshakes with the other world leaders. He's so weird with those freaking handshakes, always trying to exert dominance and control. And then like the not letting go, always trying to take the upper hand and then like pulling and weird. Tough as nails, Anna. I just saw a meme about Hillary having investigation 5 days from the day Timothy blew up that building with fertilizer. All her evidence was in there. Charges dropped. Coincidence? Sad, both sides. Well, and I think Saturday was the 30-year anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, wasn't it? That is just horrifying. Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure Saturday was the anniversary. April 19th, 1995. Yeah, crazy. The bombing remains the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history. Well, wait, how can that be? How can that be? Because that's, oh, because domestic, that he was from this country. Okay. Because I was thinking, of course, of 9/11 and they weren't from this country. Okay, got it. So scary. Yeah, I've never heard that about um, the Clinton evidence in that building, but it looks like on Saturday, former President Clinton did some speaking, some public speaking about it. Yeah. It's just so unbelievable. Like there was a freaking daycare in that building. I don't know how many littles were victims of that, but it was a lot. Um, let's see. Let's see if the 19 children were among the 168. So horrifying. Like that's where terrorists, it's one thing for uh, consenting adults to be at war with each other. It's a totally different animal when you bring kids into the picture. And like if these airplanes and helicopters are being sabotaged and there's children in these crashes, and I think that they are being sabotaged. I think that they are acts of terrorism. Um, let's see. So Anna B says, Billy C, we are right. I know it. And what was it that Billy just said um, about the forced handshake? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people are talking about it, and you just, you can't put anything past these people. And meniscus, Anna says, we broke as hell, my friend. LOL. Do you mean the country being broke, Billy darling? Is that what you mean? Or are you talking about on a personal level? I would think you're talking about like on a national level. I mean, right now with the value of the dollar plummeting, with the Dow price continuing to plummet, with the world economy continuing to plummet, it's everything's in a free fall. This nurse with a purse was drained by my last narcissist. Ugh, on to better days. I'm off for 2 to 4 weeks, Annabee says. My second hubs maybe X soon, but ain't shopping for no man for me. Oh, I'm sorry, Billy, darling, if you're going through something stressful like that. Yeah, you're welcome, Annabees. Horrifying how many people these idiots will take down, including G. Bush and 9/11, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, every single person is horrifying. It's absolutely horrific. And if these are just like airplane accidents and helicopter accidents, still, why are we not doing something about it? The fact that it's not being brought up, um, to me, that speaks volumes. That absolutely speaks volumes. That it's not being addressed on the national stage. It's not given the national spotlight. We can't have this. So just this morning, a commercial airplane's wing was on fire. I'm not sure if that was United or what. I want to say it was United. Let's see. Airplane on fire at the Orlando airport, on fire. Orlando. Delta flight. Okay. Because, yeah, it seems like a lot of the flights involved in this are American Airlines, which, they're good airlines as far as I've always thought. But it almost seems like the name is just being used and abused. Like it's symbolic that it's American Airlines. Um, I think all politicians are full of it on both sides, all sides about the money. Yep. It was terrible. I remember I was giving meds to my patients and they were all gathered around the TV and we're watching the Oklahoma City thing. Yeah, I mean, I was only like 27 at the time. So I was probably finishing graduate school. So I was very distracted by the stress of trying to finish my master's program. But of course, I remember it, of course. Um, Later, everyone, I want to see what disasters they cover on the local national news. It's just so hard to keep up, and it's so much distraction. It's so much flooding the zone. So, one of the things I learned this weekend with all these documentaries is the history that William Barr has with Jeffrey Little E. Like, William Barr's father also goes way back with Little E. That's nuts, isn't it? Of course, these people have all known each other forever. Did they steal the kids away, then fake the tragedy? They get paid twice. The disasters was answering Fred. Billy, I don't doubt anything anymore. I know, right? Sorry to hear about that, Billy. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I'm in therapy. Aw, yes, you will be all right, dear. You're awesome. Glad for that, Billy. Yeah, therapy's always good, I think, in my humble opinion. It was my kid's spring break, the Oklahoma bombing. And Billy says, Fred, nice ladies at shopping, grocery, garden, nurseries, art museums, book clubs, wine tastings, never at bars. Just saying. Yeah, I think art museums are going to be the best place to meet people. Grocery stores, that was the big thing when I was living in San Francisco in graduate school. There was one particular Safeway in the marina that it was like Wednesday nights at a certain time. I don't know if it was like 7 to 9 or something. I think it was like in the produce section. Like that was like the hookup time. And everybody knew. I never had even been into that grocery store for anything, but it was just the talk of the town that was like the pickup spot. Groceries, that really old fashioned thing that nobody ever cares about, right? Well, yes, like they think Maui kids were escorted away. Yeah, well, and this whole thing with the Maui police chief showing up in the Sean Combs lawsuit, man, some sick crap. So, if that's true and accurate, mm, 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 mm. I want to go to the art museum. Absolutely. I adore the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. It's so beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely. I am thinking CrimeCon is Target rich with females. Fred, see you there. That's funny. We have lovely parks and gardens here. Yeah. I love going to like the botanical gardens or arboretums. But yeah, meeting people is hard and dating is hard, especially I would think with all this modern technology and yeah. And then if things don't go well, then the cyber stalking. I mean, at least you can cyber stalk people before you start dating so you can see if you really want to try it or not. Let me look at my notes one more time and then maybe we'll wrap up. Uh, mhm. Yeah, I think we've covered it all. I think all of the stuff that I have here. Let me see my other little tiny notebook. These are nice because they fit in my purse. That's why I got them this small. Um, so yeah, Maria Farmer is the artist that was assaulted by Epstein and Ghislaine. And then her sister's name is Annie Farmer, if you want to look them up. And good for them that they are speaking out about their trauma and their recovery. Really good for them. So I want to talk more about Suture Balahi, the 26-year-old artificial intelligence genius kid who unalived in San Francisco in November, and his family is really pushing to investigate it as not a self-inflicted type of thing. It certainly seems like it wasn't a self-inflicted type of thing. So yeah, this Mike Dugan runs artificial intelligence fake news right now, 150 of them, and he is supported by Putin and the USSR. It's craziness. And so one thing that a lot of us know about the little E, but we forget, at least I forget, is that he made videos of everything. So he had video cameras everywhere in all of his properties. He videotaped everybody in every room, every move that they made. And mostly it's believed he did that for blackmail purposes. So he has all the dirt on everyone. But if those tapes exist, which they do, and they've been recovered by law enforcement because his properties were raided and they took bags and bags and bags of evidence, what's become of those um, electronic what's become of all that electronic data? And you know that it's not completely destroyed because you know that people are going to hang on to it for the same reason, so that they can use it as blackmail, right? And remember, you can't buy anybody's silence, you can only rent it. So he couldn't lift his hand, and JD still shook his hand even though he couldn't lift it. I'll have to watch that. I haven't seen that footage yet. That's really sick. That's weird. Who's little E? That to me is Jeffrey, the one that was found hanged in prison in New York. What was that? I think 2019. That's who I call little E. I call the muskrat, I call him the big E. And then I call El Presidente little T. So, yeah. So the one that you're saying, Annabise, I call him big E. And then I call the one with the island, I call little E. Sorry if it's confusing. I just think it's better to not say their names to keep alerting the AI algorithm. Amber Heard was in on it with the muskrat. Yeah, well, they were a thing. So what was she in on, Billy Darling? I'm curious. She used to host parties for him and provide. Oh, ew. Gross. So she was a Ghislaine type. Absolutely gross. I had no idea. I had not heard that. I'll have to do some research about that. Ooh, let's watch it. Watch what? I'm not sure what you meant. Oh, watch the Pope thing? Sure, I can see if I can find it. Oh, sorry, I thought Elon was little E. I agree. Yeah, yeah. Here, let me see if I can find it. I'm sure I can. Um, yuck, Vance, shaking hands, gross. Okay, so we've got which one should I watch? This one is MSNBC. It's only 37 seconds long. Let me see if I can play that one.
Hello. So good to see you. God bless you. How are you? Fine. Thank you. Happy Easter to you, Father. Wonderful. I know you've not been feeling great, but it's good to see you in better health.
Thank you very much for your visit.
Of course, of course. And thank you for seeing me. Pray for you every day. God bless you.
Io prego per lei ogni giorno, che Dio la benedica. Grazie.
Happy Easter. Hello.
Oh, he's just so creepy. Let me pause that. So yeah, it looks like he shook his hand twice at the beginning and the end, but he is so creepy. He's like that guy. Oh man, let me see if I can find this thing. This is really funny. Human walking in the park like a human. You guys have probably all seen this TikTok thing. This is the best. This is one of my favorite. So his name is John Klein, and it's his Instagram channel. I think is called The Artist and His Cats. And let me just see if I can play it. Or no, is it? Oh, it's this guy. It's Sam. Here, let me see. It's hard to. If I can get sound. Can I get sound? I don't think I can. One sec. Oh, there we go.
Vance, I'm running for vice president.
Okay, here we go. This is Sam Cantent. I think it's Instagram. Yeah. Have you guys
Nice
seen
to
this?
meet you. So how long have you been walking for? Today or in general? Okay, good. Wait. I think this is going pretty good so far. Oh, I spot a motherly figure with a smaller human being. Hi, I'm JD Vance. How old are you, little girl? I'm 8. 8? Oh, wow, I was 8 once. How about you, Mom? Were you ever 8? Was I ever 8? Okay, good. Mom, can we go home? Yes, honey, run to the car. Oh, would you look at that? Another human being with a smaller creature attached to a leash. Hi, I'm JD Vance. What's that? Are you asking what kind of breed he is? For how long? For how old he is or how long I've had him? How long have you been walking? I'm sorry, are you asking how our walk? Okay, good. I love to mingle with the people. Here comes another one now. Hi, I'm JD Vance. How did you install those little wheels under your feet? You mean my rollerblades? Okay, good. So how long have you been walking? Walking where? Okay, good. My vessel is starting to crave food. I think the next person that I encounter, I'm going to ask them where a donut shop is. Hi, I'm JD Vance, Vice President running. Nearest donut shop location, please. That'll be Beanie's on 7th Street. JD Vance rerouting. Thanks. Okay, good.
JD Vance.
All right, have a good day.
Okay, that is so funny. Now, you guys have probably all seen that, and I'm going to put a link to it in the description. It's just so funny, but that's exactly how he sounded in his interactions with the Pope just then, huh? Let me open the door real quick. Come here, puppy dogs. Come here. Come on, Mookie. I had one puppy dog in and one out, and they'd like to be together. Okay, so let's see what else you guys are saying, and then we'll wrap up because we're at an hour and a half. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, you guys. I was just like, what do I do with the mess up that happened earlier with my live? Man, craziness, absolute craziness. I was already scattered enough because all this information is just really kind of spinning me out, and I'm trying to stay focused. Trying. Sorry, Caps, and I was excited. Yeah, quit yelling, girl. Let's see. Let's see. No masks Mr. My Hollywood bonus son told me about the blackmail, and yes, Amber hosted underage girls and videotaped. How sickening. I have never heard this, but I've always thought she was sickening nonetheless. And I can't highlight your comment, Annie. That's weird. It's super weird. It just won't let me. There, now it's going to let me. Okay. And Amber has a muskrat babe from surrogate. Oh, she does. I didn't know this, but that's not one of the 14 that we know of, is it? I don't think it is. So that makes 15 that we know of. I'm sure there's like scads more. And then, he's got kind of like a cult type of housing situation for the children and the mothers in Texas. It sounds like he might have something like that in New Mexico too. Little E had a thing in New Mexico. I wonder if the Big E has taken over Little E's New Mexico property. Gross. Oh, what are they going to do with that baby? Yeah. A daughter who will be Amber's protege and marry her stepbrother for the Legion. Oh, how scary. Yeah, that's what they're calling the sick, twisted idea of having, populating the world with their seed, their legions. Not a family, a legion. Musky Rat wants to start Legion of Babes, so pure. I'm just so depressed with all this stuff. It is depressing. I try to not allow it to be depressing. It is very overwhelming. The world is still a wonderful place. And the thing that I do find uplifting is that this type of trauma and tragedy can really bring people together. It can really bring out the best in people, honestly. Billy, uncoordinated, goofy looking kids. Oh my goodness. That skit. See, this is where Anna B's, to stay not depressed, I try to watch as much of the comic stuff as I can. That one skit about the choreographer teaching the Big E how to move more, make himself look more human in his movements, and he learns his signature X body shape. That's one of the funniest skits. That's as good as that JD Vance one I just showed you guys. JD Vance rerouting. JD Vance for vice president running. Yes, Amber is vile. Good word for her, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that whole thing was nuts with her and Johnny Depp. Not that he wasn't at fault. I mean, he certainly has a drinking problem and a problem in choosing chicks. But he also dated one of the Victoria's Secret angels. He dated Kate Moss for a long time, and prior to that, he dated Winona Ryder for a long time. Everybody dated Winona Ryder, and he was one of the owners of the Viper Club when River Phoenix passed away there, and River Phoenix was working on a movie with Winona, and allegedly Johnny was afraid that River was going to steal Winona from him, but he already didn't like that River was stealing all the good roles. And allegedly he was the one who put the red hot chili pepper that handed River the drink with the H in it. Allegedly it was our boy that did that. Depp boy, which, all of that, I missed the whole connection, other than the fact that he was partial owner of the Viper Room. I didn't know that he had any involvement in that until the trial with Amber Heard. And then I was looking stuff up and came across that whole story. I didn't know anything about the chili pepper dude handing him the drink. And so he drank the H stuff, which if you do that, you will pass away instantly. And then I think his girlfriend, River's girlfriend, Maria Plimpton, was there. Is that her name? Mary Plimpton? Martha Plimpton. And then his brother Joaquin was there, and he too passed away in his brother's arms. River passed away in Joaquin's arms. I think River's sister might have been there too. But that brings to mind that whole situation with the two boys in Texas fighting at that track meet, and then the one boy cutting the other boy with a sharp edged object, and then that boy dying in his identical twin brother's arms, and just all of the racism that's been coming up. And oh man, it's just so sad. Like, all I really know, because I've tried to stay out of all of it, all I really know is that it's a horrible situation. For any way you look at it, it's horrible. And then the dad of the twins has gone on the record saying that he forgives the perp already. And people are really upset about him forgiving the perp, which you can't get upset with somebody for. If you've ever been in a situation like that, which thank goodness I haven't, but it's like you've already lost your child, and not forgiving somebody is just like creating more poison in your system. Forgiving someone is not letting them off the hook, it's letting you off the hook. It doesn't mean he doesn't want justice for the perp. It just means that he's found the forgiveness in his heart because of his trust in God. And what a difficult situation to be in, and then to come under fire with all these people that the dad has simply like asked people to not use his son's face as a platform for their racist crap, and then he's gotten a lot of backlash for that. It's really unfortunate. Like, who the F are these surrogates? You know, Legion is described as demons in the Bible. Ooh, I did not know this. Enemies. I have to check this out. Fatherless kids. Oh, how sad. One sec. Come here, Coco. What are you doing, you silly nut? Come on in. She's so funny. She wanted to leave, and then she wants in. Come here, baby. Come here. Coco. Up. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to read up on your comments and then sign off. Thanks so much, you guys. I love you, and it brings me so much joy to connect with you guys, especially when I'm, you know, viewing and reviewing all of this toxic crap. It really helps me let off some steam to express myself, and then to get your input. And you guys always have the best input, so I really appreciate that. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your thoughtfulness. It's not like he acts like a father in any manner. Well, even the Trumpster fire himself told Melania that if she had a kid, that he wasn't ever going to see this kid because he was going to be too busy doing deals and what, doing Stormy. I mean, my goodness, that is just sick. Not that I'm a Bible scholar. Anna, yes, that's true. Legion is Muskrat's own words too. And he is such a freaking demon. I mean, he looks like a gargoyle to me. You know, you guys have good ways of describing him too, but he really looks like a demon gargoyle, in my humble opinion. Did he off River too? Johnny Depp might have been behind that, Billy Darling. Yeah, you can Google and see that he was very threatened by River. I mean, River was getting all the good roles, and he was doing a film. I don't think they'd started the filming yet, but he was about to do a film, I think, with Winona Ryder. And yeah, I'm sure they would have hooked up. I mean, I would think, but yeah, I only knew that he was a part owner. I didn't know that he had a beef with River, but apparently he did. And yeah, once River was gone, then he really got all the roles. Like, do you think he would have really been in all those pirate movies if River was still alive? River would have made a good pirate too. Allegedly, potentially. I don't believe Johnny did that. We need to ask AI. Billy Darling, I love it. He didn't do it, but he might have influenced. I forget the Chili Peppers name. I want to say his first name is Chad. And he's got like a mouthful of a last name. Let's see, Chili Pepper, who gave drink to River. Oh, it's John, actually. See, as soon as I type it in, then my brain starts to work again. It's John Frusciante. So AI says this. The question refers to River Phoenix, who passed away in 1993, and his relationship with John Frusciante, guitarist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Frusciante was a close friend of Phoenix, and they were together on a rug binge in the days leading up to his loss of life. The phrase, who gave drink to River, is a metaphorical way of suggesting that Frusciante had something to do with Phoenix's rug-related demise, as they were both using rugs heavily. So that's what AI says. And yeah, it was Halloween of 1993. And they might have arrived together. And John Frusciante quit the Chili Peppers like 3 years ago, it looks like. And he was suffering addiction, close friends with River. What does this say? What does this say? There's just lots of stuff here. Rumor 1, rumor 2. It was about 1 a.m. Phoenix was in the bathroom of the club doing some rugs with several of his rug dealer friends when one of them would offer him a hit of H. It was pure grade Persian brown. Almost immediately after snorting the H, Phoenix would begin trembling and shaking violently. Then he turned to one of his friends and vomited, and another of his friends decided it would be a good idea to give him a Valium to calm him down. After taking the Valium, River would stagger back into the bar area and approach actress Samantha Mathis. Okay, it wasn't the one that I thought. It wasn't Martha Plimpton. It was Samantha Mathis. They do look a lot alike, though. They both dated him. Who was sitting with his sister, Rain Phoenix. Upon complaining that he could not breathe, Phoenix passed out. When he awakened, he begged his friends to take him outside the club, where he quickly fell to the sidewalk and went into seizures until a photographer, Ron Davis, made a 911 call on a nearby payphone. Yeah, this was back in the days when you had payphones, huh? As did River's brother, Joaquin. Cell phones were not in the mainstream by then. So, yeah, these are just all the rumors. Okay, here's the one. This is rumor number 3. This story was allegedly told to several of River's close friends right after his demise by his then girlfriend, Samantha Mathis. This version most closely aligns with River's autopsy report, as well as an interview with John Phoenix's father that he gave after River passed. Director Wiiliam Reichert claims he met with Samantha 3 days after River's demise, and the story she told him could have implicated those present at the time of the event. The people involved, Rain and Joaquin Phoenix, Samantha Mathis, Johnny Depp, Flea, and John Frusciante, didn't speak publicly about the incident for nearly 30 years, until Samantha did in an interview in 2018, where she told a version of the below story to The Guardian, omitting details that would get anyone into trouble. River's most recent directors, Peter Bogdanovich and George Sluizer, both believed there was foul play. River had returned to LA from Utah while shooting what would be his final film, Dark Red Stuff. After a day of shooting in LA, River was coming down with a cold and wanted to sleep it off in his hotel room as he had important meetings the next morning. Siblings Joaquin and Rain were in town to visit and wanted to go to the Viper Room, but were underage and would need a celebrity escort to get in. Samantha volunteered and River planned to stay behind, but got a call from his friend Flea of the Red Hot Chili Peppers inviting him to play on stage. That's right, he was playing that night. A last-minute decision, River grabbed his guitar and ran to meet his girlfriend and siblings. Upon arrival, River was told by Flea that there was no room on the stage for him and he could not play. He then sat in a booth at the back of the club with his group, John Frusciante, who had recently quit the Chili Peppers and was suffering H addiction, was close friends with River. Knowing that River was bummed out about not being able to play on stage, he handed River a Dixie cup filled with unspecified liquid and said, "Drink this, Riv. It'll make you feel fabulous." Unquestioningly, what a weird word, unquestioningly, River knocked back the cocktail, which was later discovered to be a mixture of 8 times the lethal amount of cocaine and 3 times the lethal amount of H, as found in his autopsy report. There was no rug residue or inflammation found in his nasal passages, no needle marks on his body, and no alcohol found in his blood. After downing the drink, River soon vomited on himself and the table and passed out. When he came to, he began trembling violently. "What is this crap?" he asked, and quickly took a Valium to calm himself down. He could not feel his tongue or his mouth. Samantha told Reichert that River was desperate to get out of the club and that she helped carry him outside, where he promptly collapsed and started to have seizures. John Frusciante told a panicked Samantha to leave him alone and that she was spoiling his high. There was a delay in calling 911. The young people present were not sure whether to call their agents or paramedics due to River's celebrity status. Rain threw herself on top of her brother to stop his face and hands. Oh, that just kills me. And trigger warning, to stop his face and hands from smashing into the pavement as his body seized. I still am a huge River Phoenix fan. They watched him thrash helplessly on the ground for nearly 10 minutes before a paparazzi convinced Joaquin to call 911. By the time they arrived, River was unresponsive. Flea rode in the ambulance with him. See, I love Flea. I don't like that he was there, but he was doing all the right things, sounds like. By the time he'd walked into the club to the time he passed, it had been only 40 minutes. Biographies about River continued only to refer to the rug pusher as a guitarist friend, but River's father gave an interview in '94 to Australia's TV Week magazine, which corroborates the story that it was John Frusciante who gave River the deadly drink. He is only 23, the same age as River when he passed, but he has a lot on his shoulders. He is keeping out of my way because he knows I'm looking for him. If you see him, tell him I'm going to strangle him. No, don't print that, but tell him he's an a-hole. He's very rich, but he is a heavy rug user, and now he is a pusher. With Rivers, he was like, do rugs. If you run into him, tell him he may have gone back into the woodwork now, but he'll answer. I want him to know that I think he's scum. Print it and let him see it. He's insinuated himself into my son's life, and River was too sweet to eject him. River was moving away from rugs and was actually trying to get this guy off of the H himself. River booked him into a farm, talked to him for hours. I wonder if farm means like treatment facility. Invested time into him, but the guy broke out and dragged my son down with him. Now he is alive and River is not. Where's the fairness in that? 30 years on, because River's mother refused an investigation and those present refused to give details, the facts of that night remain up for debate. There are wild conspiracy theories that I didn't bother to mention up top, like Johnny Depp using River as a satanic sacrifice. But one thing is for certain, River's legacy lives on through his work, activism, and fans. Here's a video compilation of River's famous friends talking about him, including Joaquin, Keanu, Ethan Hawke, Will Wheaton, Sean Astin, Kiefer Sutherland, Flea, Gus Van Sant, and Udo Kier. River's sister Rain hosts a podcast called Launch Left and did a special video for River's 50th birthday featuring Flea, Dermont Mulroney, and Michael Stipe talking about River. Grab your tissues for Dermont Mulroney's particular emotional part. Oh, very cool. I'll put links to those in the description. Okay, here I've gone on almost 2 hours. Yeah, Billy, let's see. Where were we? I'm way behind. Well, the rumor is that Depp put John Frusciante up to it. Let's see. I got way behind. I don't believe Johnny did that. We need to ask AI. I know. I was not digging it when I found that myself. So I'm in your boat, Billy. I would rather think that Johnny had nothing to do with it. He seems like a sweetheart. Johnny Depp does. He really does. I don't want to believe Johnny did that. Then the chili pepper guy would be in jail, I think. People are sick. Great to see you again, too, Granny Annie. We love you, Jazz. Oh, Annabees. Chad is a douchebag. John Frusciante. Chad was a different guy. Yeah. Chad was another chili pepper, I think. But yeah, I always think of the Chad character from the Charlie's Angel movie that played Drew Barrymore's boyfriend. And it was like her real life husband. And he was a total douchebag in real life and in the character in the movie. And then I think of those dangling Chads on the paper ballots in the 2000 election in Florida. Okay, John F. and a red rummer then. It was John F., not our boy Depp. I agree, not Johnny. Well, good. See, I was thinking Johnny all this time since I first came across that information. And I like this idea better. I really do. Okay. Elio was more of a threat and got every single role. Yeah, Leo. Oh, Leo DiCaprio. More of a threat and got every single role. And everyone was so mad they didn't give him awards for over 20 years. Well, and it's funny because Leonardo DiCaprio was in that Gilbert Grape movie with Johnny Depp. And for a minute, I was thinking that River Phoenix was in it. But yeah, they are a lot alike, aren't they? River Phoenix and Leo when Leo was younger. River Phoenix, if you guys haven't seen I Love You to Death, that's like one of my favorite movies of all times. It's got River Phoenix, Keanu Reeves, Tracy Ullman, Kevin Kline, William Hurt, and a whole slew of others. Victoria Jackson, Phoebe Cates, who is married to Kevin Kline. It goes on and on. Great movie. I Love You to Death. Okay, back on track. Not Johnny. Hashtag not Johnny. I like that. I'm going to highlight that. I know. Oh, what happened? Billy, darling. I went to your thing. It's a cute picture on your profile. Instead of hitting replace pin message, it went go to channel. Is that you in your cute, adorable picture on your profile, Billy D? Billy, darling. I like your new handle too, Itadarich. Leo stole the entire movie Gilbert Grape, so not Johnny. Yes, Leo did steal it. And Winona Ryder was in that too. Yeah, she was great. Johnny probably OMG, this guy acting like he dumb and win another Oscar. OMG. Yeah. OFC, the directors want us to look somewhere else while they exploit the kids. Johnny was close friends with Tim Burton, and he had already done many films with him and planned Johnny to play in Pirates. Well, yeah, and I remember him in Edward Scissorhands around the same time. That was also with Winona. Flea is always a douchebag. Oh, I like Flea. I didn't think he was a douchebag. I thought he was cool. Agreed, Anna. Not our Johnny. Agreed, Billy. Oh, I'm curious now why Flea's a douchebag. I thought he was good. Like Anthony Cadeas, if that's how you say his name, the lead singer for the Chili Peppers, he seems like a douchebag. He seems like he's right up there with Little E. But I thought Flea was better than that. But then they're in the band together for life, so who knows? Shame on Joaquin not looking after his little brother too. Yeah, Joaquin's had a rough life too. I mean, they all grew up in a cult, you guys. The whole family was in a cult. Like I want to say River was the oldest, maybe, and then the parents kind of used him as their meal ticket because he had so much talent. OMG, they all unalived River. Yeah, including the family that used him as a meal ticket and raised him in a cult, in my humble opinion, allegedly. He was probably wasted too, Billy. I don't care. River Dad is weird AF. Or I put the AF in. You put AH too. Then John F. did manslaughter. Sounds like it. These peeps are the handlers for the movie industry and the directors. Why didn't they arrest him? Right. Well, he is extremely wealthy from that Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I'm sure that made them all like basically billionaires, right? Big money backing him. Hollywood money backing him. Parents didn't push and paid off. ID suspect. Chili Peppers can go pound sand. Still makes John F. the manslaughterer. Just saying. Yeah, I agree. TYVM. It's Billie Eilish. I don't know what the TYVM is. I'm just not with it. I'm not hip. TYVM. Thank you very much. It's Billie Eilish. Granny Annie says, did you see the Donald Easter Bunny I sent you? LOL. Not yet, Granny Annie. I'll check it out. Thank you. Anthony is huge douchebag and Flea is his accomplice. Remember Anthony Cadet was dating Demi Moore right before she married Ashton Kutcher. It was sort of like he wouldn't commit to Demi Moore. He had, he was a playa. And so it was almost, in my opinion, it was almost like she married Ashton Kutcher just to mess with Anthony Cadet for him not being willing to quit screwing around with everybody. River was the youngest? Really? I thought River was the oldest. Let's see. River Phoenix. River Phoenix siblings. So he was the older brother, it says, of Rain, Joaquin, Liberty, and Summer. See, I thought there were like 7 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it would be a family of 7 with the 2 parents. So, yeah. How many siblings does River have? He had 4 younger siblings. So he was born in 70. Rain was 72. Joaquin, 74. Liberty, 76. And Summer, 78. And then a half sister, Jodine, born in 64. Okay. So I think that's his dad had a child with a different mother 6 years before he was born. It seems. Okay. Setting this down. I am. Oh, here we go. What are you saying? What are you saying? Thank you very much. Sorry, River was not youngest. Apologies. You're good. Yeah, it's easy for any of us to get confused. Phoenix kids got abused in that cult, I think. Yeah, it seems like it was really weird, and they were like all homeschooled, I think, too. So there's a link to the People magazine about it. Oldest boy, second child. All right, you guys, I'm going to wrap up quickly because I'm already over 2 hours, and I've said I'm going to wrap up, and then I don't. So thanks again for being here, people. It really relaxes me to do this video when I didn't think that I was going to be able to get a video done. It was like increasing my stress level. So I'm really happy to have been able to make some content, and thank you for being a part of it. So love and light. Have a great day, and hopefully see you tomorrow. And maybe I'll have my new phone up and running by then. Did I show you my new phone on this one or just on the other one? It came today. That's why I had to wait until 2 in the afternoon, 2:30 to get started. And then it's so cute in its little box. Yes, yes, yes. Very exciting. All right. Love and light. Drink your water. See you soon.